So for our next session, we have the gentleman who, with his innovative approach to hospitality, shook the industry 9 years back. Mr. Ritesh Agrawal, founder and Group Chief Executive Officer, OYO. In conversation with Mr. Agarwal, we have one of our very own, Ms. Megha Tuli, partner and co-founder, Hotelivate.
After you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Ritesh. Thank you for joining us, and welcome back to our Hotelivate conference. It's nice to be back in person.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here. It's fantastic to see all our industry colleagues in one room. Good to see you. Congratulations. I just heard. So happy to see so many familiar faces here. It's probably the first time I'm in a conference with so many of us from the industry together in a room, all busy. So I'm very happy. I'm excited. I went to Siddhivinayak temple earlier, hoping that this year's summer season we don't have the start and stop again. So really hoping we get this summer season in full after 2 years of challenges, as you all know.
Absolutely. So Ritesh, you've spoken at our conference many times in the past, and we've always spoken about OYO and its growth and things like that. But as today's topic suggests, I'm sure there's more to you than just OYO, right? So let's start with a very simple question. Outside of OYO, who is Ritesh Agrawal?
Oh, I think that's a curveball. I thought we'd start with what are RevPARs looking like, how many hotels are you adding? Look, I think first off, in what we all do, right? And in the hotel industry, it's a very unique industry that we all operate in, where there is, frankly, it's one of those industries which has probably one of the most work commitment, right?
Yep.
Because on Saturdays and Sundays, when everybody is out there holidaying, you have the highest spike in demand. So first off, there is limited time outside of work, but I don't mind it because I really enjoy the work that I do. But that said, I think a bunch of other things, right? I think a lot of things that I'm sure our colleagues in the industry will relate to. I like reading. I read everything from books to fictional novels to, I like watching documentaries, big history buff, so I try and do that. So a bunch of those things, but I think as they always say, if you're in the hotel industry, you're always on, and I try to be always on.
Well, I know one of your passions is technology and what an enabler it can be, because I don't think OYO could have scaled the way it has if it hadn't adopted a tech-first approach, right? So as an industry, we've always been tagged as tech laggards, right? And you see words like ML and AI being thrown around at conferences like these, and to many people, they're just words, right? So what is the practical on-ground application of such technologies, and what are some industry-first tools that perhaps companies in this room can actually benefit from?
Absolutely. I think this is something that's more up my alley. But I think this is a great question, which is essentially saying that there is a lot of these acronyms we hear, right? Artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science, Web 3.0, and so on. But how does it impact our life on a daily basis if I am somebody who's a revenue manager, if I'm in sales, if I'm in MICE or any of these organizations? I thought it would be a good idea for me to spend a few minutes, less from the context of just OYO, but also more from the industry's context, saying how can we all benefit from some of the things that we've done, at least we are trying to do. If some of these are valuable, I hope you try it. And if some of these are not valuable, please tell us that it's not working so we can learn from you. So typically what we've seen, and I'll break it down into, and I'll focus mostly on revenue. Today I'm not focusing as much on ops, customer service, specifically on revenue, because revenue is one of the easiest places to apply technology on and data on and see whether it creates more value or not. So I'll start with 3 important legs which in our view, or at least in my view, drive revenue the most. The first one is, and in the world of internet, the first one is great quality content, and I'll come to this in a little bit of time. The second one is great quality customer service, and what other customers will appreciate. And the third one is being able to revenue manage / price manage very well.
Sure.
So I'll go through all 3 of them and share our learnings. I want to caution that all of you may have done all of these and more. I'm just sharing from the context of what we've seen in our small hotels industry that we serve in our communities around ourselves. So I'll start with content. Typically within content, we see photography becoming more and more a critical part of business enablement around the world. So earlier, for instance, movies that were made by somebody who used to sit down and say that, what kind of a next movie do I want to create, right? So say that I want to create in the genre of comedy, and here's the actor I need, and here's the storyline that I would have. But in the new world, Netflix is producing movies by saying users have different emotions every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
They lose interest in X minutes of time, and hence I will have this scene come in at a certain period. So data is leading to what the next movie scripts look like.
Right.
So in the same manner, data can potentially guide us as to what quality of designs our rooms should have that consumers want to buy, versus that of that remaining just an art. It should become art cross science. So what we do at OYO is we've built a product that we call as frames. So this system allows us to track what are the top hotels designs around the world which are getting the highest click-through rates, highest conversion, consumers are preferring them. And we say if the same design needs to be replicated in some of our hotels inside the rooms, what is the cost of it and what is the RevPAR jump that we will get?
Right.
And to the extent the cost to income ratio is interesting, we make that investment. So I encourage all of you, whoever would like to consider photography as an area of investment, to look at improving photography very significantly by using data to say which photos get you the best business and then deploying that further at scale. Second is similarly amenities. We have seen in our platform, for instance, if some amenities exist versus do not exist, we are able to predict the RevPAR difference. And again, we are able to make forward investments in CapEx and FF&E, or recommend to our owners to make CapEx investments and FF&E basis that. Just by using OYO frames, which is using better photography, OYO frames ranking of 80 plus on OYO gets hotels who do business with us 18% plus higher revenue. Right? Just photos in the new world we live in, because everybody's buying these hotels online.
Right.
So this is one context. I can go on about content. I'll spend a little bit of time on reviews. All of us spend a lot of time delivering great customer services, right? Like we work hard to ensure no customer has trouble. Every day in the morning, we'll review our customer check-ins. We will do in-hotel visits and meet our clients. If there's a corporate client, we would like to also make sure that the person who's organizing the trip is also a part of the experience that is being provided for. But what we sometimes forget is for the next marginal user, this customer experience is only as good as the next marginal review.
Yeah, of course.
Now, a lot of us complain, including ourselves a lot of times, is saying that there's sometimes bad or wrong reviews, right?
Yeah.
Which is some consumer will just put out a review that you don't fully agree with. But reality is the next marginal customer doesn't care about that.
Yep.
The next marginal customer will read your reviews and make a decision basis of that. So I think being able to design, for example, at OYO, we've designed all of our front office staff of our owners' hotels to focus on reviews as a very critical part of the service delivery, knowing fully that sometimes, unfortunately, some customers may say that if I need to give you a good review, I need, for example, 3 hours of free extra late checkout.
Yeah, yeah.
And the third thing is, of course, RevMan/pricing. I think that's an area that a lot of you have done a lot of work on. But for us, I think loyalty program, which a lot of you do probably a lot better than we do, has been one of our biggest value additions. But if I were to leave that aside, one of the things that's worked very well for us is personalized pricing at a user level. So we are the third most downloaded travel app in the world after Booking.com and Airbnb. And 100% of our customers have to log in when they use our mobile app. So at a user level, we are able to check which hotel we should recommend, but more importantly, what price the user should have.
Right.
And of course, we don't change it very significantly, so two people staying next to each other don't feel disappointed. So I think these are just a few examples. Just in summary, good content, 18% revenue increase is what we have seen. Large number of reviews and ratings. And when I say large number, 125 plus reviews of 3.5 to 4 plus, we've seen give us double-digit percentage higher revenue in comparison to other peers. And similarly, individualistic pricing, again, double-digit revenue rise.
Right.
So these are examples of saying that how we've used technology to make small differences, which all of us may be doing. We just have to do it at a sizable scale for our owners. And these are small hotels who are getting this technology for the first time
Right.
and hopefully benefiting from it.
Right. So, as you're talking, I can't help but draw a parallel to Amazon, where Amazon's success led to so many ancillary communities being built around them, right? Whether it's the affiliate marketers or the merchant side or, of course, the fulfillment and logistics sides. And it feels like you're doing something similar. Do you agree with that? I mean, is building a community of entrepreneurs around OYO something that you're doing consciously, or is it just spillover impact? Because I know these technologies that you're talking about, you're actually open sourcing them and it's available for everybody to use.
Absolutely. Look, I think first off, I'd probably say, of course, we are trying to build a unique business around ourselves, but I think, we would not be successful without the hotel owners who have chosen to do business with us. We've had our highs and lows with them.
Yeah.
We've had days when they have said that you're doing a great job, and we've had days when they have said that, you need to do these 5 things better.
Yeah.
We take it on our stride and work to improve it and make sure that we deliver great experiences every year slightly better than the previous year. So I think I'll break down the community aspect in 3 parts. The first is, how many of us here are hotel owners? I'm not. Okay, few of us are hotel owners. Thank you so much. You'd be surprised that with OYO in India, we have 900 plus hotel owners who each own more than 1 hotel. And we have over 50 hotel owners, I think close to 100, more than 100 owners, who would have 10 plus hotels each. These are small business people who started doing business with us with 1 hotel or 2 hotels. But now they have expanded themselves to almost exclusively do business with us, and they get business in 1 hotel and then replicate further. Let me give some examples. So in Noida, there is this owner called Deepak Singh Rana. He started with OYO with just 1 hotel. In the times of COVID, he went from 1 hotel to 13 hotels that he manages now. There's somebody called Satish in Bengaluru. He has 17 hotels. Typically, these hotels are 40 rooms or whereabouts. So these are small hotels, unlike the larger hotels, but they are able to operate at scale and hence get the benefit of unit economics at scale. So I think we initially, when we were starting it, it just happened by itself, like you were saying, right? But then we realized very quickly that these hotels deliver these owners deliver the best experiences.
Yeah.
They understand our technology the best. They appreciate the value of dynamic pricing, data science, image sciences, etc. significantly. So we went back and said each one of them, we now set up quarterly targets, saying next quarter, are you going to add 3 more hotels?
Yeah.
How do we help you with financing? How do we make sure that we give you a path towards increased business? Because we feel like all of them will eventually become sizable hotel companies of themselves, and you'll just be the platform empowering them. And hopefully in the future, we can outsource or open source our platform across the industry is our long-term hope.
Right. So given everything that you're doing in the community space and also the data science space, what are some specific consumer insights that you're seeing emerge? I mean, of course, everybody's talking about the revival of travel as a macro trend, but any fundamental shifts that you're seeing in consumer behavior which would be critical for the, let's say, next 2 to 3 years?
Yeah, I think it's 2 to 3 years after COVID is very hard to project. I mean, in the time of COVID, we started moving to a world of rolling forecast. Every quarter, we had to forecast the next quarter because who knew what was going to happen in the next quarter. But at least there are a few things that we are seeing at least stabilize in terms of trends. I think the first thing that we are seeing is business plus leisure is becoming a real thing, which means average length of stays are growing, at least in our segment of hotels, where people are staying longer, saying that, in the last 2 days of the week, I will do business, and in the weekend, I will stay along in the same place wherever I'm traveling to. So that's one thing that we're seeing, especially in our hotels, which are in the periphery of cities, not in the center of the city. I think the second thing that we're seeing is people are starting to travel. If they were earlier traveling 3 times a year for vacation, now people are planning 4, 5, 6, 7 times, at least this year. I hope this continues. May God bless our industry and that happen to give shine. Third is travel planning is starting to happen earlier. So while people are reserving still close to the date for our segment, People are starting to plan much ahead, so they're starting to discuss which location should we travel to and so on. And the last is, especially in leisure destinations, people are looking at not the traditional holiday destinations only, right? So people are looking at in and around Shimla rather than just Shimla.
Yeah.
People are looking in and around Mussoorie rather than just Mussoorie for the domestic travel, which is our mainstay, as you know.
Right, right. So look, obviously OYO is solving a very specific problem statement, right? And in your own words, like you like to call it, beautiful spaces available for everyone, to everyone. But if you were to put that problem statement aside for a minute, and you had to start a business in travel and tourism today, what is the white space that you would solve for?
So, you know, that's a tough question. The first one is I want to share that at OYO, I'm very well cognizant of reality that we have a lot more to do.
Sure.
We have a lot more to do to make sure that our owners are more successful. We have a lot more to do to make sure that customers who have chosen us because we are the best choice available, they get the experience that continuously is improving every year. Which, you know, like, when we started, I think the problem statement was significantly larger. Today, still the problem exists. It's improved substantially, but there's more to be done. I have no illusions that we have more to improve. But while we continue doing that, I believe that, actually, it's a very tough question. I feel like if I have to start a new business, I will do
You're circling
OYO
around
again.
my question now.
No, I'm actually telling you, I feel that the problem statement that we're solving here at OYO is so exciting to me. I feel like if I have to do another travel business, maybe I'll just go do OYO again. But you know, there's just so much to be done in the segment. Look, you have to understand that India is a market with massive small hotels penetration. And that problem cannot be solved in a short period of time. We are very lucky that we've gotten the love and expansion that we've gotten over the last few years.
Yeah.
But I think it's a problem that if I keep solving for next 10 years, I'm going to come back and say that, Megha, I'm going to do this all over again. So I'm very excited about what I do, but that doesn't take away from the fact that there is a lot of exciting things in travel, right, today happening. I think MICE is growing dramatically. There's a whole new theme on weddings that's coming back. I actually thought with COVID whether weddings will remain as big as they were, but hey, I think weddings have become bigger, if not by number of people, at least by the dollar per person expense. Sure. I think upmarket, segment-specific hotels, of course, I think a lot of such platforms have opened in the last 2 years where people are building waterfront hotels, treehouse hotels, and so on. So I think specialized boutique hotels is a great opportunity. I think there's going to be quite a few, but I think maybe OYO is for me.
Fair enough. So we have less than 5 minutes to go on the clock. So let me maybe ask two last questions, right? I mean, I've watched you over the years. We've spoken before many times. And what I admire deeply about you is, A, your resilience, and of course, B, your ability to stay calm and composed in almost every situation, right? And I mean, an entrepreneur's life is a roller coaster, and it's crazy highs and crazy lows. And you always seem to maintain that equilibrium of calm, and that doesn't really come easily to a lot of people. So have you always been like this, or is this something that you've had to do a lot of internal work for? I know we're shifting gears a little bit, but it is about
Megha,
more than just OYO.
I take no credit for it. We are all in the hotel industry, and we deal with challenges which are quite significant on a daily basis, right from a customer who calls saying that my Wi-Fi is broken, all the way to saying that, well, there is a trouble in one of your franchise. So I'll tell you three things, right? First is I'm very lucky to have a great team beside me. A lot of you know my colleagues. Aditya Ghosh will be talking a little while later, who's a colleague on my board. Rohit will be talking tomorrow. So you know, a lot of you know my colleagues from the industry, from outside, from inside. A lot of you know me personally. So you know that, we all appreciate that at the end of the day, we are all running a business focused on a specific segment. Yep. And in that segment, there will be problems, and we have to deal with it and move ahead. I think we've gotten many challenges, but I think we've always persevered through them, primarily because we are big believers in this problem. And I'm sure nobody in this room disagrees that small hotels in India need to be organized, and that's a big opportunity, and that's what we are very focused on.
Right. Okay. So if I was to give you this main HICSA screen right behind us, right, and if I could tell you that you can broadcast any message to this audience for the next 1.5 days on this screen, what would that be?
Oh, that's an interesting one. So I would say colleagues in the industry are probably, like you mentioned, a lot of things about me I'd probably lay it out for the industry, which is saying that we are probably the most resilient. We saw one of the challenges in the last 2 years, which is probably the biggest for at least our industry ever since 9/11. Frankly, 9/11 did not impact India so much, so actually in India for even longer.
Yeah.
We have the ability to deal with some of the biggest challenges with calmness. So we have seen through probably 2 years of craziness.
Yep.
Now is the time for growth rather than that of settling down. So my request is, I'm of course gearing myself up for 2 years of rapid growth, and I would encourage all of us to work together to create travel and tourism industry to make up. I saw one of STR's charts that Zoom stock and travel stocks are at the same place. I only think that I will be happy if we break out much ahead of everyone else together as an industry. That's my hope and aspiration.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ritesh, for taking the time. It's
Thank
always
you.
a pleasure to have you. Thank you.